My brain knows that this is only not even quite the middle of February. Valentine's Day is this week. Ash Wednesday is this week. We still aren't close to spring, but I can't help it. It feels like spring, and I've got cabin fever. Last week, I set out my first trail cams of this year, and tonight I am opening up the dome on my telescope and trying to look at the stars for the first time since this year started. I know I'll probably get snowed in before long, but I just can't help it. Welcome to our midweek devotion. This is Ash Wednesday, the start of Lent. I hope the day is very meaningful and sacred to you. I wish you a good Lenten season. After all, Lent is the time that we lead up toward the cross and Easter. It's a time of penance and seriously looking at our lives and reflection and taking stock of our lives. It's also a time where we look towards spring. Seems kind of strange that it's somber and joyful at the same time. But I hope for you that it is. One of the practices during Lent that is becoming quite popular among Protestants these days is to give up something for Lent. It's sort of like a Protestant slant on Catholics eating fish on Friday. The idea of eating fish on Friday, by the way, comes from just fasting from meat. And fish are cold-blooded, and down through history, they were not really considered a luxury food like lamb or beef or something like that. And so that's still part of fasting. But we as Protestants, what do we give up? The interesting thing is, a lot of times we do it in a rather selfish way. We practice a spiritual discipline for our own self. For instance, maybe we've been hitting the calories a little heavy, so we decide to give up chocolate for Lent. Maybe, so I count myself on this, maybe everybody we know tells us don't drink so much diet soda. So we give up diet soda for Lent. Get rid of that. Or maybe we give up the internet. We get off Facebook because we know that it's good for us to get off of it and it's been bothering us. And so we think, kill two birds with one stone. Have a spiritual discipline for Lent and still do something for ourselves. If you haven't decided to do anything special for Lent this year, but you're thinking about doing it, might start today, tomorrow. This is the first day of Lent. I've got a couple of suggestions for you. One, my first suggestion is, why don't you think about giving up something that's not necessarily for your own benefit, but that it helps to bring about a feeling of solidarity and awareness of those that are less fortunate than you. When I was a child, my mother, she was organized right to the hilt, and she had a day for everything. Mother and grandmother had a day for laundry, they had a day for grocery shopping, they had a day for gardening, and it kind of carried over to the evening meal. They had a day for hamburger. They had, I mean, you could just guess what was happening and what we were going to have. My dad loved to hunt and fish and saved us a lot of money doing that. And so we had a wild game night every week. But every once in a while, we would come to our evening meal and there wouldn't be any meat or anything that's very expensive. And Mom would do that because when she was a kid growing up, she didn't have everything that we have today. And a lot of her friends didn't. They grew up in a different time. And she wanted me to always, or us kids, my brother and I, to always be aware that a lot of what we take for granted is luxury. And it's a luxury a lot of people don't have. So that could fit right into the idea of fasting on Friday or eating fish on Friday rather than expensive food. It goes right in with the idea of maybe not having a lot of sweets, although it's going to be a little hard to do that because this is Ash Wednesday and also Valentine's Day. Well, what a day to give up sweets. But there could be lots of things that would help bring an awareness of other people and the struggles they go through in life. How about, rather than giving up something, how about adding something during Lent this year? Some sort of good deed, and especially some sort of good deed that doesn't come naturally or not with just people that you're accustomed to. I mean, not just doing something for a friend, but putting yourself in a place where you are doing something good that you might not have thought about before. And maybe you could add it and do it secretly, or do it without much fanfare or saying, you know, how great I am, that this is what I'm doing for Lent. But maybe you could make it a practice to do good things or give donations to a worthy cause. Or just, in addition to letting go of something, add something that blesses someone else. Well, I'm sure that I don't have to go on very long talking about all of this. I'm pretty sure that once the ball gets rolling and you start kind of thinking about the possibilities, that more and more ideas will come. You'll probably have so many, you have to choose between them. I think as I look at this, that at the church we are saving plastic bags, and several of us from the Littleton area are meeting a couple of times a month and cutting and weaving those and creating mats, waterproof mats for people that are homeless. I think of the blessing box that's outside the church door. I think of so many different things that could be added. Well, I won't try to make up things for you. You can think for yourselves. But may God bless you during this Lent season. And whether you give up something for Lent, or add something for Lent, or don't do either of those, may this season be rich, spiritually rich and deep for you as we march forward into spring and head toward the Easter season.